Hey guys, Spirit of the Law here. The new expansion came out yesterday, and obviously like all you guys are on HD, I was stoked for it. There's new buildings, new techs, a bunch of rebalances, and some new civilizations. And my favorite part of the new expansion I didn't even know about ahead of time. Just listen to this goat. Isn't that the most adorable sound you've ever heard in your life? It just melts my heart and I can't bring myself to kill them. Well, almost. Anyway guys, I was really stoked and I downloaded my African Kingdoms and got set for an evening of Age of Empires. So here I am, ready to start the first game, 3 vs 3 on one of the random special maps. People are trying out all the new civs, of course, and waiting, and someone drops. Okay, so back to the lobby. We fill it up again, shouldn't take too long, everybody's stoked to play the new expansion. Another 3 vs 3 and waiting, still waiting, and someone drops. So we decided to play on, and it's 3 vs 2 now, and I was playing the Berbers, one of the new civilizations. They seem pretty strong, 10% faster villagers and 20% cheaper knights, so the fast castle strategy was a pretty obvious game plan here. We also started with 10 villagers, it seems, on all of the African Kingdom maps, so your eco really gets going really fast. Xerxes put out a nice knight and camel rush, but of course 3 vs 2 was a little bit too much to overcome, so it was a pretty quick game. Next game we're trying a 4 vs 4 so that if someone drops it wouldn't be as big of an impact, and we head into the game and we're waiting, still waiting, and purple drops. We end up getting the new snake pit map though, so I want to keep playing, and it's an interesting map with this snake design and water at the top and shallows in the middle. I'm a little surprised there's no berries or boar equivalent, so you really have to get those farms out, you don't have a lot of food. Unfortunately, the other team didn't want to play while short a player, which is fair enough I guess, so we ended up going back. 2 minutes later, going in for another game, and a player drops. This time we got the new map Motherland, so Yellow and I were enemies fighting over the middle island and our allies were on the outer islands and they were going to migrate to help us in the middle. It's a cool map idea, but we just couldn't get it going. The next game we ended up getting in without anyone dropping, but a couple of the players doubled up on their colors, and of course that's not the expansion's fault, but again we got into this 4 vs 3 situation. It's kind of a nice game, and our player positions were along the sides, which is a nice idea. This is another one of the new maps. Did a bit of an archer rush on yellow because I was the Vikings, and again they ended up resigning because of the 4 vs 3. Check this out though, their whole team resigned, but we didn't win. We ended up just having 10 minutes of team locked peace without a possible way to end the game. That is, until Purple decided he had to take the opportunity to destroy my base with mangonels attacking the ground. Tell you guys, war never changes. Even after everyone except Green left, it just kept playing for him. This wasn't an issue since we weren't playing ranked or anything, and it was more just a funny bug. Anyway, next game we're trying to get one more in here. We head into the loading screen, 3 vs 3, and we're waiting, still waiting, and a couple of people drop. Now I'm not saying all of these were dropped by the game, and sometimes it might be people dropping early because they think it's bugged, but it was tough for me to get an even game going. It was 2 vs 2 at this point, but my ally in the game said that he couldn't move his villagers, so he ended up resigning as well. So that turned into a 2 vs 1 hour-long grind, but it was nice to try out the Ethiopians, and they seem really strong. So I'm looking forward to doing a proper review of the game when there's a proper game experience to review, if that's fair to say. And I know it's kind of harsh, but that's sort of the way it is. It's kind of tough to get a good game going and to really evaluate it. That being said, I'm not saying don't get it, and I'm 100% confident that it'll get sorted out and it'll be a lot of fun. And if you're a serious Age of Empires fan, then you'll appreciate everything it's adding and be willing to look past the bugs as it is right now. That's just sort of what it's like for newer games, and to a lesser extent when expansions roll out, and you know it's never perfect, and at the same time don't trust just what I'm saying, and maybe see what other people are saying too. And it could be something about my setup that's having trouble starting games with, and maybe for other people it's been a perfect rollout. The expansion itself certainly adds a lot between new civilizations and a ton of rebalancing, so you're definitely getting a lot of content with it, and it's just not at the point that it seems to be a smooth experience yet, if I'm going to be an objective third party here. I know the hype's really big, and I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. To keep looking at the positive though, I'm looking forward to all the new interesting questions that are going to be coming up, and some have already been asked in the comments about new buildings and new units, but I think I'm going to wait a little bit until we get a patch and maybe some rebalancing before I get too carried away with that stuff. I already have an Indian Civ overview that's going to need a pretty big overhaul, so I don't want to get too carried away with stuff that I'm just going to have to correct later. I'll have more to say on the expansion as I try it out a bit more, of course, but I'm also curious to hear what you guys thought of it. What do you think of the new civilizations, buildings, terrains, and all that? Maybe if you've tried the game, or maybe if you're just looking at it from the outside. Maybe your experience has been better than mine if you got it, so I also want to hear about that too. But that's all for this one. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.